Caracalla is one of Rome's most infamous emperors. His name isn't as well known as Julius Caesar or Augustus, but his story is just as insane, filled with betrayal, bloodshed, and cruelty on an unmatched scale. He butchered his own brother, ordered the slaughter of entire cities, and ruled through sheer terror. But despite all his power, he met one of the most humiliating ends in history: murdered while taking a piss. This is the full story of Caracalla, Rome's most unhinged emperor. Caracalla was born on April 4th, 188 AD, in what is now France, though at the time, it was part of the Roman Empire. His birth name was Lucius Septimius Bassianus, but that changed when his father became emperor. His father, Septimius Severus, was a military man, a warrior first, a politician second. He had clawed his way to the throne through bloodshed and war, defeating rival generals to become emperor in 193 AD. The moment he secured power, he started grooming Caracalla to take over. Severus made sure his son was raised for war. Caracalla wasn't trained in diplomacy or philosophy. His education was about fighting, killing, and ruling through force. His father believed that Rome was built by the sword and could only survive through violence. But Caracalla had a problem. He wasn't an only child. He had a younger brother, Geta, and their father wanted them to rule together. From the moment they were old enough to understand what power was, Caracalla and Geta hated each other. They fought constantly, insulted each other in public, and even formed their own factions within the palace. In 208 AD, their father took them on a military campaign to Britain, hoping they'd bond through battle. Instead, they competed for glory, each trying to outshine the other. When Severus died in 211 AD, he left his empire to both sons, thinking they would share power peacefully. He was very, very wrong. Caracalla's reign of terror. Caracalla's rule was simple: kill anyone who opposes me. Keep the army happy. His soldiers loved him because he gave them huge pay raises and treated them like equals. But this money had to come from somewhere. So he raised taxes, looted cities, and squeezed the empire for every last coin. The worst example of his cruelty came in Alexandria, Egypt. After Geta's death, the people of Alexandria started mocking Caracalla, making jokes about how he had murdered his own brother. Instead of ignoring it, he planned one of the most brutal massacres in Roman history. He traveled to Alexandria and pretended to forgive them. He held public celebrations, gave speeches, and invited all the city's leaders to a grand meeting. Then he betrayed them. His soldiers blocked every exit and started butchering the entire crowd. Then he ordered his men to rampage through the streets, killing anyone they saw. Thousands of innocent people died, all because they made fun of Caracalla. This was how he ruled, through fear, blood, and absolute control. Caracalla wasn't just cruel, he was delusional. He became obsessed with Alexander the Great, the legendary Macedonian king who had conquered the known world by the age of 32. Caracalla believed he was the second coming of Alexander. He started dressing like Alexander, copying his military tactics, and even recruiting Macedonian soldiers into his army. He even visited Alexander's tomb in Egypt and performed rituals to honor him. But Caracalla was not Alexander. His obsession only made him more paranoid, and soon, he became convinced that even his own generals were plotting against him. Caracalla's final campaign and humiliating death. By 216 AD, Caracalla turned his attention to the Parthian Empire, Rome's greatest enemy in the East. He came up with a devious plan. He proposed a marriage alliance, offering to marry the Parthian king's daughter. The Parthians agreed and prepared for the grand wedding. But when the celebrations began, Caracalla betrayed them, ordering a surprise massacre of the Parthian guests. This infuriated the Parthians, and soon, Caracalla's own men started turning against him. In April 217 AD, while traveling through modern-day Turkey, Caracalla stopped to relieve himself on the side of the road. As he stood there, One of his own officers, Julius Martialis, walked up behind him and stabbed him to death. Caracalla, the fearsome, merciless emperor of Rome, died in one of the most embarrassing ways possible, murdered while taking a piss. His killer, Martialis, was immediately executed, but the real mastermind behind the assassination was Macrinus, one of Caracalla's top generals. Macrinus declared himself emperor just days later. Caracalla's legacy. Caracalla's rule was short but infamous. He is remembered as one of Rome's most ruthless and paranoid emperors, a man who ruled through fear, murder, and war. His greatest lasting achievements were the Antonine Constitution, which made every free man in the empire a Roman citizen; the Baths of Caracalla, one of Rome's most impressive architectural marvels still standing today. But his true legacy is his cruelty. He murdered his own brother, wiped out entire cities, and thought himself the next Alexander the Great. In the end, Caracalla died not on a battlefield, not in his palace, but in the dirt, alone, bleeding, and humiliated. Rome would never forget him for all the wrong reasons.